Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading a Neuvillette Listener by me. So let's get into it. Before meeting you, he hardly ever went on any walks in Fontaine. But after the two of you started dating, things were a little bit different, and it had taken you some time to finally get him to enjoy doing some leisurely activities that humans did. Not that he didn't enjoy going on walks, but being a very famous figure like himself, it really was not easy going on walks, and them simply remaining that way. It was something that made his days more difficult than the average person. But also, he had learned to ignore it, especially now that those walks meant accompanying you and going with you to just marvel at the beauty of the city, and sometimes even shopping, if you found something that actually piqued your interest. But for the most part, the two of you would just walk around, filling your time and your walk with idle chatter. For the most part, it was entertaining. The Neuvillette lets you do most of the talking, listening and chipping in when you find something useful to say. But he finds this beautiful and so much more relaxing. It's a great difference from his life in Napoleon Romania that he barely loved, and you had a lot of things to tell that he would find entertaining. Maybe it was your shenanigans as a human, or the way you two lived, or actually way too many things. Regardless, he would always find himself interested and willing to listen. He just had no idea that someone else would be watching you too, and that someone would have interest in ruining your day and almost taking your life right in front of his eyes. It was very late at night, and it was somewhere quiet, where not many guards will be deployed. Whoever has been thinking about doing this has been thinking about it for some time now. But to dare try this in front of the Eunuchs? It was truly bold and daring and dangerous. Neuvillette had only turned away from you for a second, feeling some movement in the bushes. But in that one moment that it took for him to just glance there, someone had ambushed you, coming out from an alley and stabbing you in the gut. You let out a scream and Neuvillette instantly dashed towards you, shoving the guy away, and the torrent of hydra was hitting him. There were no proper thoughts in his head, no process, no respect for anything but your life and fear for it. You had screamed. You were in pain. Someone had just stabbed you. It was too much happening all at once. And Neuvillette, there was that fire in his heart that begged him to defend you, to do everything he can just to make sure you come out of this alive. But he had to get rid of the danger, which is why he didn't even think for a moment before attacking that guy with all he had. But as he let out a whimper, leaning against the wall, it was all it took for him to just stop his onslaught of hydro and turn towards your side, looking at you with fear that was very visible on his face. "You're going to be alright, my dear. Please trust me," he said, whispering those words over and over to reassure you, and not just you alone, but himself too. He was scared. He didn't want to lose you, and the situation that the two of you were in, it was beyond terrifying. He had no idea what to do, what was even appropriate here. What was he meant to feel, beside the strong feeling of fear and absolute horror at what happened? It was terrifying. He had never felt this way before, and he was scared, immensely so. And as he carried you to the nearest doctor, he could only think over and over of the way you held on to him, the way you cried, and the way he had to reassure you. It was scary. It was terrifying. and he had no idea what to do. You're going to be fine. Trust me. I promise you'll be fine, he said, holding your hand until you were finally able to go into surgery. He couldn't sleep, not at all, standing and waiting for you to wake up, as if just standing by your body and near you would make you wake up any sooner, though it was definitely doing nothing. But he couldn't just rest. Not with how you were being right now, not with everything that happened. And he also felt like it was his fault. After all, nobody would ever try this had they not wanted him. He was the reason it happened, and he was definitely the one that should have prevented it from happening. It takes you 2 days until you're finally awake, and Neuvillette is still awake beside you, and he will not actually blink until he's sure you're fine. And once he's sure, well, he's beyond happy. He looks at you, and it starts to rain, but a lot more gently. There is that kind of gentle rain that happens only in the mornings, as the sun rises. But right now it was happening in celebration of you finally waking up and regaining your consciousness. He leaned down and kissed your forehead, looking at you like you were the most precious person in the universe. I love you. I truly love you, Hyan. I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you. I'm sorry I didn't do anything in time. It's fine, Neuvillette. You got me here. And I'm alive now. Because you saved me. You don't realize it, but you've protected me in the best way you could. Thank you. You whisper. And although he's grieving over what you should have done, he's happy that you're okay. That you're talking to him. That he can hear your voice and look at your eyes. So he just nodded. He wanted to listen to your every word and to never say no, if only it brought more smiles to your face. And as he held your hand, squeezing it gently, he kissed your cheek. I love you. I love you so much. I love you too, Neuvillette. Thank you. I truly mean it. And he was just thankful that you were awake. You didn't have to thank him for anything.